Well, good morning. Well, I guess it's kind of hard to match that energy when I get up there for like a buzzkill when I stand up here. But anyway, it's good. It is good to be here. Thank you, team, for leading us. Man, I am so thankful for the team and the talent and giftedness that God has blessed us here with at Crosspointe, and they willingly serve. If you have your Bibles, go ahead and turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And as you are flipping there, I guess I need to find where 1 Corinthians is too, don't I? 1 Corinthians 15. But as you're flipping there, a couple of announcements. Today is a 7-year mark of Ashley's most favorite day of her life, and that's when she became a Holyfield. But anyway, today is our 7-year anniversary, and so continue to, thank you for that. So anyway, I'm excited about that, obviously, that she has stuck with me this long. And so I keep praying for her that she can bear the weight. And so anyway, 1 Corinthians 15 is where we'll be. A couple other announcements. I wasn't in here when Paul made his announcements. By the way, thank you, Paul. Everybody give Paul a hand. Paul's our youth pastor, by the way. We're trying to get him up here a little bit so we actually know, hey, when you see this, we have a bunch of bald-headed guys. And so when you see that bald-headed guy, he's the youth pastor. This one is the pastor. But anyway, I don't know exactly what all you mentioned, but next Sunday, our what we call Crosspointe Sunday School or Bible study on Sunday morning is kicking off next Sunday at 9 a.m. It is led by Josh Nowell and Jared Culpepper. We're going to walk through 1 Timothy. Is that right, Josh? Yeah, walking through 1 Timothy. And so you say, I'm already a part of a small group. That's okay. This isn't in, would they do something different than other small groups? And so you can be a part of both. And so last year, actually into 2019, we started this class for a couple of reasons. One is because a lot of our learning environments, as far as come to church goes, it's all a very not a participant. It is a inactive learning environment, as in, take, for instance, on Sunday mornings. I stand up here, I talk for 30, 40, or like last week, an hour, and I talk and you listen, and there's not a lot of interaction. There's not active learning. And so we designed this class on Sunday mornings to be more of an active learning environment where we're reading through the scriptures together. We come together and we talk about that just as a facilitator of kind of moving the discussion and things like that. And so even if you're a part of a small group, you can still be connected to that. And if you're not a part of a small group and you say, I don't know really where to get started, this is kind of like, I won't say entry level, but this is a way to come into a class and get to meet other people that you may not usually associate with. And so please, associate with is not a good word, people you may not know. The other announcement, I know you may mention this Wednesday, we're having a kids ministry kickoff. And so I'm excited about this. It's been really pre-COVID, I believe, since we've had things for Wednesday nights for kids. And so, we as a church, if we are not investing in our kids, then we're failing big time there. And so we take ownership of that. But anyway, so we want to get something started back. And so this Wednesday, we're starting off. And so, and then we will build upon it. We're excited about just getting started. So it's K through 6 right now. And so we eventually wanted to be able to even have stuff for youngers than that. And so if you're part of a small group on Wednesday nights, you can start dropping kids off by 6 at the church and come get them after small group. And so, but I am excited about that. And so I'm also saying that to say this. Not only do we need kids to be there, we also are eventually going to need people to be there to help teach and things like that. And so we don't want this just to be you drop off your kid for somebody else to teach, but we as a church, we believe in family, and we want to be able as families to come together and teach each other's kids and love each other's kids. And so please, if you're interested in serving that capacity or bringing your kid, talk to Carrie about that. Carrie, can you raise your hand real quick? This is Carrie. You can't see her head, but that's Carrie. Just walk in this general direction. I didn't make mention of this for the Sunday morning small group. I did put a sign-up sheet in the foyer on the Next Step Hub there. You can sign up there and leave your contact info, and Josh or Jared want to contact you this week, that kind of a deal. The last thing is reading plans. I'm going to mention them every Sunday. We're walking through different reading plans. I know there's a good bit of people who are doing those, and if you haven't started yet, it's okay. The best day to start is today. And so there are 3 different options. There's a chronological study. There's a study chronological reading. The thing about reading plans is you're not like necessarily just reading to sit there and saturate, and you're reading to read. And so there's a chronological reading plan, a genre reading plan, and there's a New Testament reading plan. So that's on our website, crosspointechurch.org, on the homepage, or there's some printed out ones right in the foyer as well. All right, now enough of that. I got to jump in. So last week, we began to kind of really ask some hard questions. I think questions that this previous year made me begin to ask myself as a pastor. And questions like, if COVID, if we are unable to meet together, and we have, or even if we start meeting together, we're still not all meeting corporately because of COVID and things like that. So we have a lot of people joining in online, but how can we measure health and measure growth whenever we can't necessarily count? I think I said butts and seats last week, but we can't count the actual how many people are sitting in chairs. Is that how can we measure health and growth? Can we measure health and growth at a deeper level than just how many people are here and how much money is in an offering plate kind of a deal? Is there ways that we can measure and begin to ask questions? Are we seeing our mission? Our mission at Crosspointe is that we want to be a place. Our vision at Crosspointe is we want to be a place that anybody can come experience the life-changing power of the gospel. And our mission is that we want to see people come to know, love, and enjoy Jesus and become a kingdom catalyst. And so the question is are those things happening? Are people coming and experiencing the life-changing power of the gospel? And are people becoming kingdom catalysts? Are people knowing, loving, and enjoying Jesus? And now as a church, this is kind of where, as the pastor, my cards are always on the table, by the way. I hope you all have realized that I'm always going to put my cards on the table as far as where God is leading and things that I'm dealing with and things like that. And as a church and as a pastor, and I began to ask questions, and this is not a pressure that I felt from you. So this is probably a pressure that I put on myself. I think this is a pressure that in 2021, that there's this kind of like just maybe unspoken pressure that pastors put on themselves to have the best, read the books about church growth strategies and clever practical vision casting and, all these cool things that we say, this clever programming. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've always struggled with those things because I'm not that creative. I'm not that cool and things like that. But, is that what we need? Do we as a church, need for your pastor to come up with some cool church growth strategies or have this practical vision casting and things like that? And I ask questions, am I free to choose what I want the church to look like? Can Crosspointe be anything that Justin wants it to be? I'm the pastor. Can I do anything that I want to? Can I choose things like that? Is it up to me for what our worship service looks like? Is it up for me to choose the complete direction of the church? Or does the gospel actually inform those things? Has God actually designed the way the church is supposed to look? Has God set up a discipleship plan? Has God set up a church, spiritual growth strategy, if you will? And I read this in the book that I talked about last week, and I've read it in a couple other books. So I don't know who originally wrote this, but it says this: what you win people with is what you win people to. As a pastor, that kind of stopped me in my tracks of what you win people with is what you win people to. What I mean by that is if we're winning people based on our stage design, do you know what happens? Our stage design will once get old, and you know what we have to do? We have to redesign our stage. If we're winning people on our talents, then we have this temptation, well, we have to get better, and 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 if we can't keep up with what we won somebody to, then they'll just go somebody that's got more money than us and better talent than us, and they're more gifted than us, and things like that. And And so I began to ask those questions, or thinking about what we win people with is what we win people to. And this right here is the way that the church wins its people, it shapes its people. And so if we win our people in something other than the gospel of Jesus Christ, then that is how we shape people as well. And I may be simplistic, but I want to commit to the primacy and the centrality of the gospel. What I want to win you with, win your heart with, is the beauty and the depth of the gospel and the centrality of it. Not on my performance, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to drop bombs in here, like I'm going to fail more than I'm going to succeed. There's going to be times that our band gets off. We don't have enough money to change this stage over and over and over again. It is not substantial. But what's happened in church culture and church world today, and I'm not pointing fingers there, I'm talking about in the church world altogether, that's how we've designed to win people in this century. To try to win people, try to win the world with worldly things. I read a book when I was in junior college, so this will tell you a little bit about me. The book was called Blessed Are the Uncool. And so, anyway, I guess I felt like I was uncool, so I was trying to get blessed on it. I was trying to get validated. It's okay to be uncool. But anyway, I read this book called Blessed Are the Uncool. And the premise of this book was, if you're constantly trying to chase what's cool, you're always going to be chasing. You know why? Because cool changes year after year. But if you can understand you are who you are in Christ, then you are blessed to receive. And so the same thing with the church is if we're constantly chasing the next highlight or the next growth strategy plan. I'm not saying that those things aren't important, but if our focus and our emphasis isn't on the one thing that never changes, then we're constantly going to be searching for the next and newest thing. And what happens is that when we win people with shallow things, with low commitment things, then we're going to have easy departure. And when we read the Gospels, when you read following Jesus, it wasn't a low commitment thing. It wasn't like, I guess so. Like, to be a Christian in those days, you may have got thrown in a stadium and let lions eat you apart.